Hello, my name is Matthew Harmon, and this is my presentation on the economics of our alternatives to oil. Since the Industrial Revolution, which for most first world countries occurred between the years of 1820 and 1860, the world has been fixated on oil for almost all of its everyday needs. This includes being used in almost every machine, motor vehicle, and power source. And because of its necessity in today's society, it has become a very valuable resource, which is why it has even become the focal point of many wars, such as many of the altercations in the Middle East. And just to show how valuable it is in today's society, the easiest thing to look at is its value in terms of money. This chart illustrates the top 10 oil companies in the world, with number 1 at the top being ExxonMobil from the United States. It has a net worth of $347.4 billion. These companies combine, not even including all the other companies that are in the world, these are just the top 10, they combine to have a value of over 1.523 trillion US dollars. To put that into perspective, this is a list of 5 of the better known companies in the world. The top one on this list being Wells Fargo at a value of $274.4 billion. The other big one on this list is Coca-Cola at $182.9 billion. Coca-Cola claims to be the most recognizable brand in the world, yet when compared to ExxonMobil, it is only about half the value. ExxonMobil is valued at $165 billion more than Coca-Cola. And not only that, but the coal and oil industry combine to be the second most profitable industry in the world, only behind technology. So what does this mean? Very simply, the world spends a plethora of money on oil. And since most first world countries, which tend to be the primary users of this oil, do not have a large amount of oil of their own, they are highly dependent on oil-producing countries, such as the OPEC organization. However, through the OPEC organization, they can fluctuate the prices however they please, which is highly inconvenient to most of the consumers in the first world or other countries that are dependent on this oil. So according to Resources for the Future, they say that alternative fuels can reduce U.S. dependence on oil, lessen the impact on U.S. consumers of spikes in the world price of oil, and improve U.S. national security. Although they specify the United States, this can translate to any country in the world that is highly dependent on another country for oil. And simply what they're saying is, by switching to a renewable resource, it will provide financial benefits for the consumers because renewable energy does not have the price spikes and drops that oil does. Instead, it is much more predictable, which increases consumer confidence, and that is very pivotal to an economy's stability. However, when switching, there are many factors to consider, specifically being the cost of it and certain environmental factors, such as for solar, wind, and hydroelectric power, you need the sun, you need wind, and you need moving water, which for some areas is not always practical. And also for electric cars, you need to have charging ports, which may not always be easily accessible. However, these are the prices of the average renewable resources for an average home in the United States. Solar panels tend to cost between the price of $35,000 and $52,000. Wind turbines around $40,000, hydroelectric at $20,000, and the 2 most popular electric cars at the moment, the Tesla Model 3 at $35,000 and the Chevrolet Volt at $37,500. Clearly, this is a large amount of money, which is why it's not so open for a lot of people to go out and do. However, there are many financial benefits for making this investment. Having solar panels, wind turbines, or hydroelectric power greatly increases the value of one's home. On average, it increases a home value around $30,000. However, for a larger system, which could possibly take you completely off the electric grid, it can add up to $80,000 to your home's value, which is significantly more than you pay for it. And not only that, but most systems tend to earn back their value within 15 years or less, which is about 1/3 of their average lifetime. So for the remaining 2/3 of its lifetime, you're saving money that you would have spent otherwise had you not switched to renewable resources. And then for electric cars, the easiest thing to compare is the cost of gas to an e-gallon. An e-gallon is what an electric car uses to find an equivalent compared to the average cost of gasoline. The cost of gas in the U.S. today, on average, is about $2.50. However, this fluctuates greatly, up to $3 in either direction. Well, $3 up and about $1.50 lower, depending on the time period and where you're at. whereas the cost of an e-gallon rarely fluctuates and tends to stay within 2 cents of $1.10 at the moment. So, based on the obvious difference between the prices of fossil fuels and renewable resources, many countries throughout the world have been trying to switch to more renewable resources, such as the EU. The EU has a Renewable Energy Directive which states by the year 2020, at least 20% of their final energy consumption will be from renewable resources. And at least 10% of their transport fuels will also be from renewable resources. And because of this directive, it is requiring that they invest in renewable resources, which costs money. However, because of this investment, in the long run, not only are they helping the environment, but they are saving money and making money for themselves. So the solution to the issue that we have is to take Europe's initiative and apply it to other areas in the world. And since money moves on in today's society, unfortunately, give financial incentives to businesses for using more renewable energy. Very simply, if they make a certain percentage of their final energy consumption from renewable energy, they earn government subsidies which will help their business and encourage them to make this change. And not only that, but help advertise the financial benefits of investing in renewable resources to the average consumer. Because for many people, it is that initial price of the investment for the system that deters people from actually making this change. So by educating them on the financial benefits in the long run, perhaps that'll be enough to push them over the barrier and switch to an oil alternative, such as solar power or wind power or hydroelectric. Thank you, and these are my citations.